The former Brexit Opportunities Minister slammed the government's plans for new border checks. Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg has accused the government of squandering the benefits of Brexit with plans for new border checks, which will undermine free trade opportunities with the rest of the world. Speaking on GB News last night, Sir Jacob said there is no doubt that Brexit was the right decision for the UK economy, but new trade barriers being erected by the government are undermining the potential benefits. According to Sir Jacob, Rishi Sunak is now trying to make the United Kingdom a mini-European Union, by announcing new charges on consignments of EU plant and animal products. The MP and GB News presenter explained, the government has announced that consignments of EU plant and animal products will face charges of up to £145 from the end of April, and trade groups have understandably reacted with horror. Instead of removing checks with other safe countries, it's been decided that the over-regulated EU is dangerous. And the particular problem with these checks is that they disproportionately affect small and medium-sized businesses. They won't have a big effect on larger companies who can afford the border costs, but small and medium-sized firms with smaller consignments will be forced either to stop the imports or pass the cost on to consumers. Sir Jacob argued that those claiming the new fees are a necessity of Brexit are lying, pointing to a time when he was still in government when the Department for Food and Agriculture wanted to impose the same checks but were blocked by him, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, and Suella Braverman. He now says that the then government's decision to block the charges has now emerged as merely a delay. Sir Jacob says it would be more sensible to abandon them altogether, pointing to a forthcoming change to digital border technologies coming later this year, which should be an opportunity to reduce friction on all our trade from safe countries, not just the EU. In a final rallying cry, he warned, free trade benefits the consumer by cutting prices. This type of protectionism simply damages the economy and makes us all poorer. While warning about the forthcoming protectionist trade charges on new goods from the EU, Sir Jacob did point to a number of free trade victories secured since Brexit. He said, the whole point of Brexit, as I said many times during the 2016 campaign, was to free ourselves from the protectionist racket, that is the European Union. The EU prohibited its members from negotiating its own trade deals. For years. This closed us off from the likes of Australia, Canada, Japan, and even the United States. Since leaving the EU, we have successfully negotiated a free trade agreement with Australia and New Zealand and Japan. We're also in discussions with India and the Gulf Cooperation Council for FTAs and improvements with Canada and Mexico, Switzerland and Israel, none of which would have been possible from within the EU. We've also joined the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and that's now passed into law. This trading bloc is projected to make up significantly more of global GDP than the EU over the coming decades. It's clear that the future of global trade and economic growth does not lie with the EU, but rather with the Anglosphere, and East Asia.